Hi everybody, I'm Geo, and thanks for joining me on this tale set in distant space. I don't normally write science fiction, but it was fun, especially as Ian and Rias grew close. This chapter takes place the second the other chapter ended. Rias used his datapad and attacked the invading raiders with grav lifts and drones. He managed to immobilize most of them. But 2 raiders and a traitor eluded him. The traitor was the medic, Doc, and he captured Delilah, Rias' sister. It was also revealed that Doc shut down Madre, and in the process caused an overload that started the fire. Ian brought up the logs of the Adi-Shachar, hoping they would distract Doc and the raider long enough for them to rescue Delilah. One other little point. The customized genetic nanites that are replacing Rias' dying marrow with an artificial one are doing the impossible. They have infected Ian and are changing him. Let's get started. Chapter 26. The final chapter. MRD-1 system, Nuestra Colony, South Dome. Medical. Ian. An image appeared on the monitor, a long-distance scan of an area light hours from here, taken shortly after the Adi-Shachar had left the jump gate more than a month ago. Indistinct and very distant, it almost looked like a stretched-out sensor echo. Something resembling an odd-shaped potato began to form. Doc inhaled and whispered, "No." Datapad. Enhance image and compensate for distance and for any distortion, Rias said. Calculate size. The image sharpened and sharpened again. Only the extreme distance distortion had made it look organic. Datapad. I sent. Compare object with known ships, both historical and modern. The angles were sharp and non-reflective. No light shone on it. No ships match the observable shape or size, the datapad sent back. Compare it with the colonies, both those in the Bentley-Thwaite arm and the other 4 arms, Rias sent. It matches nothing in my archive. It is possible that the extended archive of Madre could identify it, my datapad sent. Adi-Shachar, Swift Current. Is there any kind of match in your databases? I said. But already knew there wasn't. The truth of that object scared me, and I looked at Rias. No match found, both the Adi-Shachar and the Swift Current said. The image sharpened again. Rias' customized datapad was amazing, because a long-range distorted image turned into the unheard of. "You can't know about this," Doc yelled. "How big is it?" the raider said. "Haven't you been on it?" Captain Rowan said. "Without further information, I estimate the object to be 20 kilometers in length, but there is a degree of inaccuracy," Rias' datapad said. "There is a high probability it's a ship, or part of a ship." The message from Rias appeared on my retina display. "All ships in the area are accounted for, except my great-grandfather's ship, the Joya de Vida. And that isn't it." I sent back. "No corporation has a ship that big." "Nobody from Terra," Rias sent. "It's not human-made." "Do you realize what you're saying?" I sent. "In the entire history of humanity, there has been no contact with any other race. We are alone." "Not anymore. Perlita was right," Rias sent. "This will change the fate of humanity. Whichever corporation controls this could potentially control the future of humankind. Mason Garrett Wade has been stealing from it for at least a year," I said. "How did they know about it?" "Perlita's not talking," Rias said. "Tell me about that ship, Doc," I ordered. "How did they find it?" "I don't care. We have to save Delilah," Rias sent. Doc frowned at me, eyes widening. I have to get out of here. Give me the swift current and I'll tell you. The datapad placed the enhanced image of the ship on my retinal display, along with size information. A retinal display? This was going to take some getting used to. Datapad, what's going on inside me? You have a subneural retinal implant created by the nanite gel used to reconstruct Rias's marrow, my datapad said. But it didn't come through my datapad. It sounded as clear as if I wore headphones, but I wasn't wearing any. Display Rias's condition. It responded to my thought and showed me a complete readout of Rias's condition. His cybernetic marrow, still not fully constructed, worked at 70% efficiency and increased. What are the nanites doing to me? I silently asked. A second readout appeared on my retina. The nanites were rebuilding my marrow and building unique AI structures along my spine and building neural circuitry along my eyes, ears, and vocal cords. It was also building a comm structure, extended memory storage, and some structure I didn't understand. Rias, I thought, what's going on inside me? We were together in the null-grav field when my nanofeeds broke. You were exposed to the custom nanites, Rias sent. I redesigned myself, and I had no idea they would redesign you as well. I'm sorry you were infected. It looks like we are turning into our own enhanced datapads, I sent to him. Is that even possible? You have to remember the original AI network we pulled together. Madre, the Adishachar, 2 medical AI modules, my father's old one, and the one from my original datapad. Add in the 2 custom modules Dr. Tanaka attached to my spine, and something happened that nobody imagined, and it's happening to both of us, Rias sent. Well, if I'm going to pilot, I'll need extra processing speed and finger dexterity, I sent. Understood clarifications. Future design modifications are being adapted, the Adi Shachar said. Adi, I sent. It's good to have you back. It is good to work with you again as well, the Adi sent. Rias, this might have its advantages, I sent. Stop staring at each other and get me a ship, Doc said, waving the gun close to Dalila's helmet. Alert, my datapad said. The Hades Inferno carrier has shut down communications and is attempting to flee. Its engines are not operating at full thrust. Alert, the second carrier is powering up weapons. You're not listening to me. I will kill your sister, Doc screamed. I have to get off Nuestra. My only chance is to get to Mason Garrett Wade territory. They'll protect me. They owe me. Then why did they try and kill Elias? I shouted. They expected you to be on board Shuttle 2. You sent Elias and Gutierrez and me to die. Explain why. Doc didn't say anything, but he lowered the gun from Dalila's head. I'll tell you why. Mason Garrett Wade didn't want you talking, but you outsmarted them. Then they came in either to capture you and the other traitors or kill the 3 of you, I said. Let my sister go, Rias said, standing but a little unsteady. He moved slowly, but with more confidence than I had ever seen him. I don't think he needed his crutch anymore. Get ready, Rias sent to my retinal display. I ran a scan on his back. The vac suit contained the nanite gel, which was just what Rias needed. It focused the nanites on his spine. The nanites were doing emergency tissue reconnective surgery and binding the damaged muscle tissue together. I'll do it, Doc screamed. You can keep Perlita and Tristan and the Raiders. Just let me go. I'll give you Dalila. We'll take the swift current and I'll release her in an escape pod right before we enter jump space. You can pick her up in a shuttle, but I've got to leave. I'm sorry, Rias. Doc can't have my ship, Captain Rowan said. Doc, see reason, Carla said through the comm. It takes 12 people to pilot a cargo hauler. You would need access codes for it to even recognize you. Unless you're Rias, Gutierrez said through the comm. You're stuck here, Rodriguez said, also through the comm. Ian, Rias sent. The comm network expanded. It now reaches into Central Dome, and a lot of datapads join the network, including Roldan's and Dr. Tanaka's. I smiled back at him. "Give me that ship," Doc said, this time waving the gun at Rias. "Karina," Rias said, "double-check your list. The comm network just opened up into Central." "Good news," she said. "Anybody in Central Dome, give us a yell so we can send rescue crews." A lot of voices responded. "Rias, I order you to shut the comm network down. Everybody hears everything. It's worse than before. Shut it down and give me clearance to the swift current," Doc yelled. "Alert," my datapad said. "Second carrier launching missiles." "Show everybody in the domes on their datapads and play it on the closest monitors. Enhance resolution," I yelled. This might give us enough of a distraction to get Delilah away from Doc. The datapad fed an image to the nearest monitors. The Hades Inferno carrier was attempting to flee, but Rias's attack had blown out one of its engines and jammed the launch bay shut. Half the running lights were gone, and debris trickled away from it. The other carrier launched missiles, not at Nuestra, but at the Hades Inferno. Covered in running lights, the massive craft dwarfed even the Hades Inferno. Only one craft could be that big. Rias stared at me and smiled. I smiled back and said, "Wow, I never dreamed I would see it." The replica of the second carrier was displayed in the CNC tower. Rias had hand-cut more than 4,000 pieces to put it together, and had sequestered himself for weeks building it while he processed the grief of his father's death. As impressive as the replica was, it was nothing compared to the size and fury of the real thing. The long-range corporate destroyer Venganza de Dios, the biggest ship in the Bentley Thwaite arm, and arguably the biggest ship humanity had ever produced, had arrived. A soft rumble shivered through the floor. The heavy muscle of the Bentley Thwaite Corporation had massive grav engines, and Nuestra felt them. Bigger than all 5 of the domes of Nuestra combined, the Venganza launched a volley of 12 missiles after the Hades carrier, and lit up local space with its guns. There was nothing in known space that matched the Venganza in size or power. Doc's gun lowered, and both he and the raider stared at the screen and had forgotten Delilah. "Now," Rias sent on my retinal display. To distract them even further, Rias zoomed in on each impact of the missiles on the Hades Inferno. Hull plating, decks, chunks of weapons, all exploded in space. The short-range anti-missile guns shredded the Hades Inferno. The Hades Inferno launched its own missiles, but it couldn't defend itself against the Venganza. I crept towards Doc and the raider while no one was looking, and took Delilah's hand. Something flashed on her display. Rias sending a message, no doubt, and she looked at me. Her face was wet and her eyes were wide, and my datapad showed her heartbeat too fast. I had to do something to shock her out of her fear. I sent to her helmet display, "You owe me a cheeseburger burrito for this." A small hint of a smile. "Run," I sent, and pulled her away from Doc. The raider looked down and raised his gun. He saw us. Oh my God. My heart had never beaten that fast in its life. The only other time I'd been this scared was when I woke up in the damaged pilot station on the Adi Shachar. I picked up Delilah and... "Run!" Rias screamed. I ran. Carruthers and Rohan blocked the main corridor, which meant I took Delilah back to her brother. "No," Doc yelled. "She's the only way I can get out of here." I whirled, placing Delilah and Rias behind me. "Not today, Doc." Doc leveled his gun at us. "You are helpless. You are pathetic. I still have the gun, and you don't have anything that can stop me. I have to get out of here. Do what I say, or I will fire." "Delilah, Ian, drop," Rias yelled. We did. "Datapad, ultrasonic scream in Doc's helmet," Rias screamed. A horrible high-pitched wail erupted from Doc's helmet, and one of his hands went to his helmet. The other hand fired his gun at Rias. It hit Rias's suit, dead center. "No!" I yelled. "No!" Delilah screamed. Doc shot Rias, Carla shouted. Did you see that? Rias staggered back, leaning on the wall. Clear fluid oozed out of the hole the gun had made in the suit. Rias touched the fluid, rubbed it between 2 fingers. Rias, I sent, talk to me. His eyes opened wide, and he stared at me as if he couldn't believe he was shot. I was at Rias's side in an instant. Suddenly, the raider leaped across the room and took Rias's other side. Easy, boy. Elias, get your suit on. We need you here in South Dome. It's an emergency. Gutierrez, how's trams? Elias yelled through the comm. Still down, Gutierrez said, also through the comm. Dalila screamed and sobbed and turned around to hug her brother. The clear fluid leaked inside her open faceplate. Rowan, give me your ship, Doc said, or I'll shoot Dalila. Swift current. Doc is not allowed access or entry under any condition, Rohan said. You are an idiot, Doc said, and leveled his gun at us. You should have left me in the coma, Rias said. I'd never seen hatred in someone's face before. Rias wiped at the clear fluid leaking from the front of his suit, and when he looked up, his eyes hardened and his mouth was grim. I was scared for Doc. Rias exhaled, eyes narrowing, and he very softly spoke. Let me show you helpless. As acting administrator, I pronounce judgment. Datapad, overload Doc Suit's AI. Make it explode. The explosion was small and came from the front suit panel of Doc's vac suit. Electrical energy danced across Doc's face. The vac suit's front panel blossomed and caught fire. We trusted you. I trusted you, Rias screamed. You tried to kill the man I love and my sister. Because of you, Hector died. Robinson died. My godfather. I died trying to save Ian, and you just shot me. Look at the shape the colony is in. Who else has died? The explosion went inward into the vac suit. Contained, it had nowhere to go but Doc's body. Doc, I'm not helpless, Rias said. You will never threaten my family again. I shuddered. That must have been thousands of pieces of burning metal ricocheting inside Doc's chest. I forced Dalila to look away. Doc screamed and took a step back, using the wall to keep upright. Then he slid down the wall. As the front panel on his vac suit melted, it smelled of melted plastic and fried wires. Doc screamed, dropped the gun, and tried to get out of the vac suit, but it was too late. Doc stopped moving. The medical readout on my retina showed no vital signs. Doc was dead. Rias gripped the arm of the raider supporting him. I will do to you what I did to Doc if you don't surrender. I'll give you 5 seconds, Rias said, his voice calm and cold. If the raiders knew my boyfriend, they'd run away screaming. He'd been nice to Perlita and the others, but he'd been pushed too far. We all had. The raider still had his gun in hand. Drop the gun and give us a reason to keep you alive, Captain Rohan said, picking up Doc's and pointing it at the raider. Dalila pushed herself between Rias and the raider. Don't kill my brother. I had to do something, but what? I didn't have any weapons or armor, just my hands. I sent to Rias what I was about to do, raised my fists, and charged. Ian, stand down, it's me. The man in the raider suit dropped his gun and opened his faceplate. Uncle Emilio, Dalila screamed, and hugged him. Emilio pushed his dreadlocks back and with one hand held Dalila. Emilio? I asked. I thought you died. Not even close, Emilio said. You never answered the comm, Rias said. We thought you were dead. I could say the same about you, Emilio said. Doc shot you. Why are you still standing? Rias chuckled. My datapad is in the suit with me, and I reinforced it with hull plating from the Adi Shachar. I don't think the shot even scratched it. You scared me, I sent. Sorry, but seeing Doc aim the gun at my sister, Rias sent, and then turned to Emilio. Your turn. How did you survive? With Madre dead, we couldn't communicate with anyone. If we wanted to find out what was going on, we needed vac suits. This guy came along at the right time, so I decided to borrow it, Emilio said. Using grav lifts to set up a colony-wide comm network? Rias, I don't understand you sometimes, and I have trouble with how you don't follow anyone's authority. But I have to admit that when your ideas work, they really work." "Indeed," came a voice from Emilio's datapad. "I'm glad Rias is on our side." "Mr. Gunther, Doc is dead, and Rias has already immobilized the others. We need some help down here," Emilio said. An image appeared on my retinal display. "Mr. Gunther?" I said. "You're on the Venganza?" "Yes, Mr. Alvarado. I have relief ships launching now. We'll be down shortly," Mr. Gunther said. "Any words on casualties or damage?" "Extensive," Emilio said. "We're still working on the casualties. Nuestra, this is Emilio. I'll take my old job back, and for what it's worth, I approve of what Rias did while he was acting administrator. But Rias, it's time to give you a demotion. I don't want the competition. It's back to atmospherics for you so I can get some peace. Karina, I need casualty reports. Carla, I need damage reports. Rodriguez, keep the drone with you and send me reports about Central Dome. People, we've got a lot of work. Don't make the man in critical condition do all the work. Mr. Gunther, I don't know which problem is worse, South Dome or Central. Take your pick." "I have sent down people for both," Mr. Gunther said. "Mr. Gunther is really here?" Carla said through the comm. Emilio tapped the screen with the image of the Venganza de Dios. "Look what he brought to the party." Emilio gave Rias, Dalila, and me a hug. When I heard South Dome was vaxxed, I feared the worst. I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize how bad. "Don't get comfortable, Emilio," I said. "There's one more raider running around Nuestra." "About that," Emilio said. "We tried to get 2 suits, one for me and one for Roldan. The other one kind of got shot and needs a little bit of work. There is one bright side to this disaster." "You've got to be kidding," I said. 2 domes needing a lot of work, Madre down. I think Rias used every drone in the complex. What's the bright side?" "Well, we're overhauling South Dome. We can finally redesign South Dome sewers," Emilio said. MRD-1 system, Shuttle 2, on the way to the alien ship. 3 days later, Rias. Ian sat in the left-hand pilot seat of Shuttle 2, while I sat in the right-hand seat. We flew to a distant region of space. I'd never been this far from Nuestra before. My datapad sat between us and was in holographic mode, showing the incredible beauty of the stars. My marrow was working at well over 100%, as were the implants. There was only one problem. The nanites had infected Ian, and since the arrival of the Venganza de Dios, the nanites had slowly taken over his body until he held an artificial marrow and all the implants that went with it, except his were built from the nanogel. The nanites had spread to everyone who came in contact with the gel. It was slowly changing them as well. Dr. Tanaka had looked into it and made some odd findings. He shared them with me right before we took off. I didn't know how Ian would take it. We sat together, as close as the seats would let us, staring at holographic images of the stars, of some of the colonies, and even of Terra. We sent to each other so we had some privacy. We weren't alone. A lot of people were with us. Gutierrez flew the first leg of the trip and was resting in the back with all the others, and the Venganza de Dios flew with us. "I have to tell you something," I sent to Ian, "about me and about what the nanites did to you. Dr. Tanaka doesn't think he can reverse it. Do you want the good news, the bad news, or the weird news?" "Let's start with the bad news," Ian sent, and swiveled his chair so he could look at me. "Because of what the nanites have done, we're both jump negative. We're alive, we'll probably never get sick, but neither one of us can ever enter jump space," I sent. "I kind of figured," Ian sent. "The crash changed the way I look at life. I nearly died. I want to keep my feet planted on some kind of ground. Nuestra is probably the best place to be stranded. It's got good food, the best beer, and you're here. That's not bad news. What's the good news?" I opened my hand to display 2 gold rings. We mine a lot of ore here, including a little gold. What would you say to a real ring instead of a holographic one? Emilio can perform the ceremony when your captain gets back, and Gutierrez already said we can use Shuttle 2 for our honeymoon. Where would we go? Ian said. The issue is not where would we go, but how long would they give us some privacy before Carla started yelling, I said. Ian took one of the rings from my hand and slid it on my finger. Then I slid one on his. What's the weird news? He said. I paused, unable to look at the man I love. What would he say? Dr. Tanaka ran some tests on me, and the results shocked me. I'm afraid what the nanites did to me, they also did to you. They also infected the food and water, and they are doing to everybody in Nuestra what's happening to us. What do you mean? Ian said. The nanites, their processor, and the AI modules aren't the ones Dr. Tanaka brought with him, I said. Madre, Adi, the AI modules in my datapad and in your arm took what Dr. Tanaka designed, and they redesigned it. I already know that a network of AIs redesigned your marrow. I helped set up the network. If it saved your life, I don't think it's weird, Ian said. He took my hand and gave me a gentle smile. That's not the weird part, I said. I still couldn't look at him, and I withdrew my hand from Ian's. Mr. Gunther can arrange for transport for anyone who doesn't want to get altered, I said. Dr. Tanaka isn't sure how long we can keep this quiet, because it will change everything. Even more than the alien artifact will, Ian said. A lot more, I said, and took Ian's hand. Once everybody is upgraded, no one on Nuestra will age, and the nanite marrow will repair any age-related issues. Everybody, eventually, will be about 20. You mean we have to thank Perlita for being immortal? Ian sent. A soft chuckle escaped. It gets weirder. Dr. Tanaka believes that the upgraded modules are also jump negative. They can't be taken anywhere to study except here or on a slow ship, I said. In other words, we're immortal but we can never leave. Anyone who comes here will also become immortal and can never leave. If Terra ever finds out about this, we could have a swarm of people coming here who can't leave, Ian said. If we're still here. Mr. Gunther can arrange to have the Zhang He come to Nuestra and start its voyage from here. We can take it to the stars the slow way, set up jump gates, and explore the cosmos until we get tired of it. It's a colony ship. Our families, friends, anybody who wants to come with us can, and they'll be immortal too. We only have to give him the nod, and he'll do it. In fact, Mr. Gunther has already signed on. We both became quiet as Shuttle 2 approached the huge, shadowy artifact that the raiders had felt was so important. My retinal readout indicated that the ship was nearly 49 kilometers long, was completely without power, and if we hadn't known where it was, we would have missed it. Something about the metal dampened sensors. A ship filled with people who never age, going to places nobody's been, and taking the people they love with them? Sign me up, Ian said. Where would we go? That's up to our new captain, I said, and leaned in to kiss Ian. Do you want the jump? The end. Thank you everybody for listening to my experiment with science fiction. I had so much fun. I hope you did too. Let me know in the comments if you want more sci-fi, or should I stick with romance and the paranormal. Peace.